Welcome to Caledonia Sleeps, your peaceful escape into the heart of Scotland. Tonight we gather by the fire to share 5 stories of the Selkies, the seal folk, those mysterious beings who live as seals in the cold northern waters, but who can shed their skins like cloaks and walk among us as men and women of extraordinary beauty. These are not tales of monsters or malice. They are stories of longing, of love that crosses the boundary between sea and shore, of the unbearable ache that comes when we try to hold on to something that was never meant to be kept. The stories I will share with you come from the Scottish Islands, from Orkney and Shetland, where the grey seals haul themselves onto the rocks and watch the human world with eyes that seem far too knowing, far too sad, from the Outer Hebrides, where clans still remember their seal folk ancestors and carry the marks of that heritage in their very bodies. These are old tales, worn smooth by countless tellings, passed from grandmother to grandchild in the Gaelic tongue, sung in ballads that make the heart ache with their beauty and their sorrow, each a little different, yet all bound by the same tide. So settle deeper into your chair or bed. Let the fire warm you. Let the sound of the waves beyond the shore lull you toward sleep. And listen, for the selkies are waiting just beyond the rocks, and their stories are as old as the sea itself. The Goodman O Wastness. Our first tale comes from the island of North Ronaldsay in Orkney, where the land meets the sea in a tumble of grey rocks, and the wind never truly stops blowing. The Goodman O Wastness is a bachelor farmer. His fields yield good crops, his cattle are fat and healthy, his stone cottage sits snug against the hillside, sheltered from the worst of the Atlantic storms. He is young, handsome, prosperous. The local women eye him with interest when he comes to the kirk on Sundays, whispering behind their hands about what a fine husband he would make. But the Goodman has no interest in marriage. Women are trouble, he says, when his neighbours tease him about his solitary life. Adam himself might never have been driven from paradise if he had not been bewitched by his wife. And so he continues alone, content with his farm, his routine, his quiet evenings by the peat fire, until one midsummer morning when he walks down to the shore. The tide is out. The rocks are bare and warm in the rare Orkney sunshine. Seabirds cry overhead, wheeling and diving. The Goodman makes his way carefully across the slippery stones, heading for the low water line, where the best shellfish can be found. He needs bait for his fishing lines. He rounds a large outcrop of stone and stops. On the flat rocks ahead, just above the waterline, lie 7 figures, naked, their skin pale as milk in the sunlight, their hair dark and long, spread out dry in the warmth. Some lie still, faces turned up to the sun. Others sit with their feet dangling in the water, laughing at something, their voices carrying like music across the stones. Near them in a heap lie 7 sealskins, grey and glistening, still damp from the sea. The Goodman's heart begins to pound. He knows what they are. Everyone in Orkney knows the stories. Selkies, the seal folk who can shed their skins and walk as humans on the land. Beautiful beyond measure, gentle, strange. And if a man can steal one of their skins, the Selkie cannot return to the sea. She must stay. She must be his. He moves before he can think, slowly at first, crouching low behind the rocks, making his way closer. The Selkies do not notice. They are lost in their own joy, in the warmth of the sun, in the pleasure of dry land and human form. The Goodman creeps to the edge of the rock shelf, reaches out. His fingers close around one of the skins. It is slippery, cool, with a strange weight to it, like leather but softer, more alive. He pulls it to him. One of the Selkies looks up. Her eyes widen. She cries out, a sound of pure alarm, and suddenly they are all moving, scrambling for their skins, pulling them on with frantic speed, diving into the water. Within moments, 6 grey seals are swimming away from the shore, their heads bobbing in the waves, looking back with dark, reproachful eyes. But one Selkie remains. She stands at the water's edge, naked and trembling. Her eyes reach toward the Goodman, toward the skin he clutches against his chest. Her face is the most beautiful thing he has ever seen. High cheekbones, full lips, eyes the colour of the sea itself, grey-green and fathomless. But there is terror in those eyes now, absolute terror. Please, she says. Her voice is soft, musical, with an accent he cannot quite place. Please give it back. I cannot return without it. I cannot go home. But the Goodman shakes his head. His heart is still racing, but now it is not from fear or excitement. It is from something else, something that feels like longing, like recognition. He has been alone for so long, and she is so beautiful. Come with me, he says. I have a good house, good land. You will want for nothing. I want only the sea, she whispers, but her voice is already fading, growing weaker. Without her skin, she has no choice. She is trapped on land as surely as if he had put her in chains. She follows him back to his cottage. He gives her clothes, a dress of homespun wool that belonged to his mother. She puts it on silently, her eyes never leaving his face. That night, he hides the sealskin in the rafters above his bed, tucked deep into the thatch where she will never find it. And so she becomes his wife, The years pass. The Selkie woman is a good wife by all accounts. She keeps the house clean. She cooks bannocks and stews. She tends the garden. She bears the Goodman 7 children, 4 boys and 3 girls, and they are beautiful children, all of them, with their mother's grace and their father's sturdy strength. The villagers say the Goodman made a fine choice after all, even if his wife is a quiet, strange woman who stares at the sea too often and never quite smiles. The Goodman prospers. His fields yield more than ever. His cattle multiply. Everything he touches seems blessed, and he tells himself that she is happy, that she has accepted this life, that love can bloom even from captivity. But he is wrong. The Selkie wife stands at the window every evening, watching the western sky, watching the sun sink into the sea. Sometimes she sings to the children in a language the Goodman does not understand. Strange songs that sound like waves breaking, like seals calling to one another across the water. And when she thinks no one is looking, tears run silently down her cheeks. One day in autumn, when the children are nearly grown, the Goodman takes his 3 eldest sons out fishing. The Selkie wife sends the other children to the shore to gather shellfish, but the youngest daughter stays behind. She has hurt her foot, and it pains her to walk. The Selkie wife begins to move through the house, looking in cupboards, under the bed, behind the meal chest. She is searching for something, and her movements are quick, almost desperate. "What are you looking for, mother?" the little girl asks. The Selkie wife pauses, turns, looks at her daughter with those fathomless eyes. "A piece of soft leather," she says carefully, "to make a shoe for your sore foot. Something smooth and supple that will not rub." The little girl brightens. "Oh, I know where there is a bonny skin. I saw father take it down once when he thought I was sleeping. It's up there, in the rafters above the bed, hidden in the thatch." The Selkie wife goes very still. Her breath catches. For a long moment she does not move. Then, slowly, she reaches up. Her fingers find the old familiar shape. She pulls it down. The sealskin. It unfolds in her hands like a memory, like a dream. The grey pelt is still soft, still whole after all these years. She buries her face in it, breathing in the smell of salt and kelp and home. Her whole body begins to shake with the force of her weeping. "Mother," the little girl sounds frightened now. The Selkie wife kneels down. She takes her daughter's face in both hands and looks at her with such love, such terrible love and sorrow mixed together, that the child begins to cry without knowing why. "You are my heart," the Selkie wife whispers. "All of you, my 7 children. You are the best of both worlds, sea and shore. Remember that. Remember your mother came from the waves. Remember to be kind to the seal folk when you see them. And remember that I loved you, that I will always love you. She stands, she walks to the door, opens it. The sea breeze rushes in, carrying the smell of salt and freedom. She looks back once at her daughter standing in the doorway, tears streaming down the child's face. Then she turns. She walks down the path to the shore, the sealskin clutched against her chest. At the water's edge she pauses. She slips the skin over her shoulders, and it settles onto her body like coming home. The transformation is instant. One moment a woman stands at the waterline, the next a grey seal slides into the waves, graceful and sleek, and finally free. The Goodman rows home as the sun is setting. He sees 2 seals in the water near the shore. One is large and dark. The other is the seal he knows, the one with the distinctive pattern of spots across her head. They swim close together, their bodies touching, and even from his boat he can hear their calls to one another. Songs of reunion, songs of joy. His wife looks up. She surfaces near his boat, her dark eyes meeting his for one long moment, and then she speaks. Her voice carries clearly across the water, and though the words are in the old tongue, he understands them perfectly. Goodman of Wastness, farewell to thee. I liked you well, you were good to me, but I love better my man of the sea. She dives. The 2 seals swim away together, heading west toward the open ocean. He never sees her again. But for the rest of his life, when his children play by the shore, a grey seal will sometimes surface nearby. She watches them with knowing eyes. She calls to them in a voice that sounds almost like singing, almost like sorrow. And though she never comes on to land again, she never truly leaves them either. The Goodman searches the beaches for years, hoping for another glimpse of her face. But the sea keeps what the sea has claimed. He grows old alone, remembering the wife he loved, the wife he held captive, the wife whose name he never learned because he never thought to ask. This is the heart of every Selkie wife tale, not a story of love, but of possession, of what we lose when we try to hold what was never meant to be held. The sealskin is more than a pelt. It is the self, the true nature that cannot be denied forever, no matter how comfortable the cage, how kind the jailer. The Selkie wife may bear children, may keep house, may even feel affection for the man who trapped her, but she will never stop longing for the sea. And when she finds her skin, she will always return. But Selkies are not only women who are captured. There are other tales, darker in a different way, of male Selkies who seek out lonely women and leave them changed forever. The 7 Tears. On the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides, there lives a fisherwoman. Her husband is a good man, but he is gone more than he is home. The herring boats go out for months at a time, following the silver shoals up and down the coast, and the women who wait on the shore must find a way to fill the empty days, the empty nights, the empty beds. She stands on the beach one evening in autumn as the sun is setting. The wind is cold, carrying the first breath of winter. The waves crash and retreat, and with each withdrawal, she finds something inside her chest, pulling away as well. She is lonely, so desperately, achingly lonely. An old woman passes by, bent with age, carrying a creel of seaweed on her back. She pauses when she sees the young wife standing at the water's edge. "You have the look of one who wants something," the old woman says. The fisherwoman laughs, but it is a bitter sound. "I want my husband home, but the sea has him, for another month at least." The old woman sets down her creel. She looks at the young wife with eyes that have seen many winters, many sorrows. There are other ways to ease loneliness. The seal men know. They watch for women like you, women who stand at the shore with longing in their hearts. "Seal men," the fisherwoman frowns. "You mean selkies?" "Aye, the male selkies are beautiful beyond any human man, and they come when they are called, if you want one badly enough." The old woman pauses. "Though whether you should call one is another question entirely." "How?" The fisherwoman's voice is barely a whisper. "Go to the shore at high tide, shed 7 tears into the sea. He will come. But be warned, daughter, he will leave when the tide turns, and what he leaves behind may change your life forever." The old woman picks up her creel and walks away, leaving the fisherwoman alone with the waves and the wind and the terrible ache in her chest. 3 nights later, when the moon is full and the tide is at its height, the fisherwoman returns to the shore. She has told no one where she is going. She wears her good shawl, though she does not know why. Perhaps because this feels like something sacred, something dangerous. She stands at the water's edge and thinks of her empty cottage, her empty bed, the months stretching ahead with no one to talk to, no one to hold. The tears come easily. She lets them fall, counting them silently. 7 tears splash into the sea, disappearing into the foam. For a long moment, nothing happens. The waves crash, the wind blows. The moon hangs cold and white above the water. She begins to feel foolish. It is just an old woman's tale, nothing more. She should go home. She should. Something surfaces. A grey seal, large and sleek, emerges from the waves not 10 feet from where she stands. It swims closer and closer, and then, before her eyes, it changes. The transformation is like watching water shift. One moment seal, the next moment man. He rises from the waves and walks toward her, water streaming from his naked body, and she cannot breathe for the beauty of him. Dark hair that falls to his shoulders, eyes the colour of deep water, skin that seems to shimmer in the moonlight like scales, like pearl. He is not human, not entirely, but he is the most beautiful thing she has ever seen. "You called," he says. His voice is like the sea itself, deep and rhythmic and ancient. "I heard your tears. I felt your loneliness." She cannot speak, can only stare. He reaches out and touches her face, his fingers cold and damp, but gentle, so gentle. "One night," he says, "that is all I can give you. When the tide turns, I must return. Do you understand?" She nods. She understands, and she does not care. He leads her away from the shore, away from the open beach, to a place where the dunes rise high and the marram grass grows thick. They lie down together in a hollow sheltered from the wind, and there, beneath the cold moon, beneath the watching stars, she gives herself to him completely. He is not like her husband, not like any man. His skin tastes of salt. His touch is both cool and burning. When he kisses her, she feels as though she is drowning, sinking beneath waves, and she does not struggle, does not fight, only lets herself fall deeper and deeper into the dark water of him. They lie together in silence afterward, her head on his chest, feeling the strange rhythm of his heartbeat, slower than a human heart, steadier, like the pulse of the sea itself. "Will you come back?" she whispers. He is quiet for a long time. His hand strokes her hair, rhythmic, soothing. "The selkies come only when called, and we can only come at the 7th tide, after the moon is full. It would be 7 months before I could return." "Then I will call you again," she says fiercely. 7 months from now, 7 tears. "No," his voice is firm now, and sad. "Do not call me again. This night is a gift, but it is not a life. Your husband is a good man. You said so yourself. Wait for him. Love him. Forget me. I could never forget you. You will." He sits up, and she feels the change in him, the pulling away. "The tide is turning. I must go." He stands, walks back down to the shore. At the water's edge, he turns to look at her one last time. His dark eyes are full of something she cannot read. Regret, perhaps, or pity, or simply the ancient knowledge of his kind, who have seen this pattern repeated 1,000 times. 1,000 lonely women calling out for something they can never truly have. Then he steps into the waves. The transformation happens in reverse. Man becomes seal, and he is gone, swimming away into the darkness, leaving only ripples on the water. The fisherwoman walks home as dawn begins to lighten the eastern sky. She feels hollowed out, emptied, as though something essential has been taken from her, or given. She is not sure which. Her husband returns a month later, weathered and tired and glad to be home. She welcomes him back, cooks his favourite meals, shares his bed. Life returns to its ordinary rhythms, and she tells herself that the night on the beach was a dream, nothing more, a moment of madness brought on by loneliness. But 9 months after that autumn night, she gives birth to a son. He is a beautiful child, dark hair, eyes that shift colour between grey and green depending on the light, and on his fingers and toes, thin webs of skin stretch between the digits, delicate as lace. The midwife sees them and makes a sign against evil. The neighbours whisper, but her husband, good man that he is, says nothing. He raises the boy as his own, never speaks of the webs, never asks questions he does not want answered. The boy grows up strange and silent. He spends all his time by the water. He swims like he was born to it, staying under far longer than any child should be able. When he is 10 years old, his mother takes him to the shore on a grey winter morning. "Do you see that seal?" she asks, pointing to a large grey head bobbing in the waves, watching them. "That is your father, your true father." The boy looks at the seal looks back, and something passes between them, some understanding, some recognition. The boy nods slowly. "When I am grown," he says, "I will go to him, to the sea." And years later, when he is a man, that is exactly what he does. He walks into the waves one summer dawn and does not come back. Some say he drowned, but his mother knows better. She stands on the shore and watches 2 seals swimming together in the morning light, one large and dark, one younger, smaller, both moving with the same distinctive grace. She has lost a son, but she has given him back to his people, to the place where he truly belongs. The stories of the 7 tears is told in whispers among the island women. It is a tale of loneliness and consequence, of how one night can change a life forever, of children born with the mark of the sea upon them, caught between 2 worlds, never quite at home in either. But it is also a story about choice. The Selkie man did not trap the fisherwoman. He came because she called, and he left when he said he would. He gave her one night of beauty and left her with a child who would eventually find his way home to the sea. Whether that was kindness or cruelty, no one can say. Perhaps it was both. And so the old woman warned the young ones, be careful what you wish for at the water's edge. Be careful what tears you shed, for the selkies are listening, and they will answer. But the price of that answer may be more than you are willing to pay. The Great Selkie of Sule, Skerry. Of all the Selkie tales, perhaps the most famous is one that has been sung as a ballad for centuries. It tells of a sealman and a Norwegian woman, and a prophecy that came terribly true. The ballad was collected in Shetland, Though the story itself is set far out in the cold waters west of Orkney, on a lonely rock called Skerry. Even today, the rock is there, 40 miles from the nearest land, populated only by seals and seabirds and the endless wind. Let me tell you how the story goes. A young woman in Norway sits nursing her baby at her breast. She rocks the child gently, crooning a lullaby, but her voice carries a note of sorrow. She does not know who the father is, or rather, she knows he came to her in the night, but she does not know his name, does not know where he comes from. She remembers only that he was beautiful beyond reason, that his touch was cold as seawater, that he left before dawn without a word. Now she has a son, and the villagers whisper, an unmarried mother is a shame, a burden, but she loves the child fiercely. This baby with his dark eyes and the strange webbing between his tiny fingers. One night, as she sits by the fire nursing him, she hears a sound at the door. 3 knocks, soft but deliberate. She opens it, expecting a neighbour, but the man who stands on her threshold is a stranger, tall, dark-haired, with eyes that reflect the firelight strangely, like the eyes of an animal. I am the child's father, he says. She knows him then, or her body knows him, recognizing something in the way he moves, the way he smells of salt and storms. Where have you been? She demands. He steps inside without being invited. He looks at the baby in her arms, and his face softens with something that might be love or might be sorrow. It is hard to tell. I am a man upon the land, he says. His voice is like the tide, rhythmic and strange. I am a selkie in the sea, and when I'm far from every strand, my dwelling is in Sule. She stares at him. The words make sense and no sense at all. A selkie, one of the seal folk. Of course. How did she not know? How did she not see? You will nurse our son for 7 long years, the selkie tells her. His voice is matter of fact, as though he is reading from a story already written. Keep him at your knee, and at the end of the 7 years, I will return with payment for your care. Then I will take him to Sule, to teach him to swim the foam, to be what he truly is. No, the word bursts from her. He is mine, my son. The selkie looks at her with those 2 knowing eyes. He was never yours to keep. He is off the seal folk. The sea will claim him in the end, whether you will or not. He reaches into his coat and pulls out a purse heavy with gold. He sets it on the table. For his keeping, he says, raise him well, love him, but do not think you can hold him forever. And then he speaks the prophecy, the words that will haunt her for years to come. But it will come to pass on a summer's day, when the sun shines hot on every stone, that I will take my little young son and teach him for to swim the foam. And you, fair maiden, will marry a gunner, and a right good gunner I'm sure he'll be. and the very first shot that ever he'll shoot will kill both my son and me. The words fall like stones into still water, inevitable, inescapable. No, she whispers, I would never, I could never. But he is already walking to the door. 7 years, he says again. Then I come for him. He steps out into the night. She hears a splash, the sound of something diving into the water, and he is gone. The years pass exactly as he said. She raises her son, and he is a strange, wild child. He does not play with other children. He spends all his time at the water's edge, staring out to sea, as though listening for something the rest of them cannot hear. The webbing between his fingers and toes grows thicker as he ages. His eyes remain dark and fathomless, reflecting no light. On the day of his 7th birthday, the Selkie returns. He comes to her door at dawn. The boy sees him and goes to him without hesitation, without even looking back at his mother, as though he has been waiting for this moment all his life. Please, she begs, he is so young. Let him stay a little longer. The Selkie shakes his head. He is neither fish nor flesh, neither seal nor man, but in the sea he can become what he was meant to be. Would you deny him that? And what can she say? She loves her son. She wants him to be happy, and she can see the longing in his eyes when he looks at the water, the same longing she saw in the Selkie all those years ago. She lets him go. The Selkie takes the boy's hand. They walk down to the shore together. At the water's edge, the boy strips off his clothes without being told. The Selkie does the same. And then she sees them both transform, man and boy becoming seal. They dive into the waves. The larger seal swims closer to the smaller one, protective, teaching, and together they head west, toward Skerry, toward home. She stands on the shore and weeps. Time passes, years. She does eventually marry, just as the Selkie foretold. A gunner, a man who hunts seals for their pelts and their blubber. He is not cruel. He is simply practical. This is how men make their living in these cold northern waters. She tries not to think about it, tries not to imagine which of the seals he brings home might have been someone she knew, someone she loved. One summer day, hot and bright, her husband goes out hunting. She stays home, feeling a strange sense of dread that she cannot explain. The sun beats down, the sea is calm, perfect conditions. She hears the shot from inside the house, a single crack echoing across the water. Then silence. Her husband returns that evening with 2 seals, one large, one younger, both grey with the same distinctive pattern of spots, father and son, any fool could see. He does not notice her face when she sees them, does not notice the way she sinks to her knees. a sound like mourning tearing from her throat. He is too pleased with his catch, with the quality of the pelts and the price they will fetch at market. She knows with absolute certainty her son and his father, both dead by her husband's hand. The prophecy has come true, exactly as the Selkie said it would, and there is nothing she can do but weep. This is the story of the great Selkie of Sule. It is a tale of inevitability, of prophecy that cannot be escaped, of a love that transcends species, but cannot triumph over fate. The ballad ends in tragedy, but it is a tragedy the Selkie saw coming from the very beginning. Perhaps that is the nature of the seal folk. They can see the patterns, the tides, the way one action leads inevitably to another, and they accept it, even when it breaks their hearts. The story reminds us that sometimes love means letting go, even when it hurts, that holding on too tightly can destroy the very thing we wish to save. The woman wanted to keep her son, wanted him to be fully human, fully hers, but he was never meant for land, and in trying to make him what he was not, she set in motion the chain of events that led to his death. Or perhaps the moral is simpler. Perhaps it simply tells us that the sea takes what the sea claims, and there is no arguing with the tides. Roderick, MacCodrum, and the Seal Woman. In the Outer Hebrides, on the island of North Uist, there is a family that still bears the name MacCodrum. They call themselves the MacCodrums of the seals, and they believe with a certainty passed down through generations that they are descended from a seal woman who came ashore long ago and married a fisherman named Roderick. This is not quite the same story as the Goodman O Wastness. It is gentler in some ways, though the ending is the same. The Selkie returns to the sea. She always returns. Roderick MacCodrum is a fisherman, as his father was before him, and his grandfather before that. He lives in a small croft near the shore, making his living from the sea, and expects to die doing the same. He is a practical man. He does not have much time for stories or superstitions. Seals are seals, fish are fish. The division between the worlds seems clear to him. Until midsummer night, when he sees something that changes everything. He is walking home late from a neighbour's house, where there has been a ceilidh, a gathering of music and dancing and storytelling. The moon is full, hanging low and orange over the water. The night is warm, unusually so for Uist. He takes the path along the shore rather than the inland road, enjoying the sound of the waves, the smell of salt and kelp. And then he hears laughter, not human laughter, or not quite human. It is higher, stranger, with a quality to it like bells, like singing. He follows the sound around a rocky headland and stops, frozen at what he sees. On the white sand beach ahead, A group of women are dancing, 7 or 8 of them moving in a circle, their hands joined, their bodies swaying to a rhythm he can feel in his bones, even though he hears no music. They are naked. Their skin gleams in the moonlight like pearl. Their hair flows loose and dark down their backs. And on the rocks at the edge of the beach lie their sealskins. Roderick knows immediately what they are. His grandmother told him the stories, the maidens of the sea, selkies. He should turn around. He should go home. He should leave them to their dancing and their joy. But he is a practical man, and a practical man sees an opportunity when it presents itself. A Selkie wife would bring luck to a household. Everyone knows that. The fishing would be good. The harvest would be blessed. He would never want for anything. He creeps closer, reaches for one of the skins. It is cool and slippery under his fingers, heavier than he expected. He grabs it and turns to run, but he is not fast enough. Or perhaps they let him get this far on purpose. Who can say? One of the Selkie women stops dancing. She turns and sees him. Her eyes widen. She cries out in alarm, and the others scatter, grabbing their skins, diving into the sea. Within moments they are gone, only the ripples on the water marking where they were. But one remains, the one whose skin he holds. She walks towards him slowly. She does not run or beg. She simply looks at him with the eyes the colour of sea glass, and he feels the weight of that gaze like a judgment. You know what you have done, she says. Her voice is soft but clear, with the accent of the islands, though stranger, as though she learned Gaelic from listening to humans speak, rather than speaking it herself. I know, he says. Then you know what comes next. He nods. Will you come with me to my house? I will treat you well. I swear it. She is silent for a long moment, looking past him toward the sea, toward her sisters who have already disappeared beneath the waves. Then she looks back at him. I have no choice, she says simply. You have my skin. I cannot return without it. So yes, I will come back with you. But know this, Roderick MacCodrum, I will never stop longing for the sea. I will never be fully happy on land. And if I find my skin, I will leave. I will not stay a moment longer than I must. I understand, he says, though he is already telling himself that she will change, that given time she will forget, that love can grow even from such a beginning. He is wrong, of course, they always are, but he is also kinder than the Goodman O Wastness. He does not try to keep her ignorant. He tells her where he hides the skin, in the thatch above their bed, because he believes in honesty, and he lets her walk by the shore whenever she wishes, does not keep her locked inside, because he believes in freedom within the constraints of their agreement. And perhaps because of this kindness, their life together is gentler than it might have been. She becomes his wife. She keeps his house. She cooks and cleans and mends his nets. and she sings to him in the evenings, strange songs in a language that is not quite Gaelic, not quite anything he has heard before, songs that sound like the sea itself. She bears him children, 5 of them in all, 3 sons and 2 daughters, and every one of them is born with webbed fingers and webbed toes, the mark of their seal heritage clear on their small bodies. The neighbours notice, of course. They whisper, but this is North Uist, and everyone here knows the old stories. The MacCodrums are not shunned. If anything, they are treated with a certain respect, a certain awe. A family with seal blood is a family blessed by the sea. The children grow up strange and wonderful. They swim like fish. They can hold their breath for minutes at a time. They know when storms are coming before the clouds appear, and their mother teaches them songs that make the seals come close to shore, watching and listening. She also teaches them respect. Never harm a seal, she tells them, over and over, until they know it in their bones. They are your people, your kin. To kill a seal would be to kill your own family. Do you understand? They understand. The years pass, the children grow. Roderick's hair begins to grey, and his wife remains as beautiful as the day he first saw her, as though time moves differently for her kind. But she also grows more melancholy. She stands at the window for longer and longer each evening, staring out at the grey waves. She sings less often, and when she does sing, the songs are sadder, full of longing so intense it makes Roderick's heart ache to hear them. One winter day, when the children are playing outside and Roderick has gone to the village, the seal woman begins to search the house. She has searched before, many times over the years, but always carefully, secretly, never letting Roderick know. Today she is more desperate. She cannot bear it any longer. The pull of the sea is too strong, like a rope around her heart, pulling tighter and tighter until she can barely breathe. She looks in all the old places, behind the mail chest, under the bed, in the cupboard where the wool is stored. She climbs onto a chair and runs her hands along the rafters, feeling for the familiar shape, the familiar weight. And there it is, the sealskin, just where Roderick told her it would be all those years ago. He never lied to her, never moved it. Perhaps he always knew this day would come. Perhaps he was simply waiting. She takes it down, holds it in her arms, and something inside her chest breaks open, flooding her with relief so intense it is almost pain. The children are down by the shore collecting shells. She walks down to meet them, the skin folded over her arm. They look up when they see her coming, and something in her face makes them go very still. "Mother," the eldest boy asks. She kneels on the sand and gathers them to her, all 5 of them, crowding close, smelling of salt and childhood and home. "I must go," she says. Her voice is steady, though tears stream down her face. "I must return to the sea. You understand, don't you? You feel the pull of it too. You are half seal, half human. You walk in both worlds. But I am only seal, and I have been away from my people too long. Don't go, the youngest daughter whispers. I must, but listen to me. Listen, you are MacCodrums now, MacCodrums of the seals. That is your heritage, your blessing, your responsibility. Never forget where you come from. Never harm the seal folk, and know that I will watch you from the water. I will not be far. You will see me sometimes, swimming near the shore. You will recognise me, and I will recognise you, always. She kisses each of them, long, lingering kisses on their foreheads and their cheeks. Then she stands. She walks to the water's edge. She slips the skin over her shoulders, and the transformation is as natural as breathing. Woman becomes seal, and she slides into the waves without looking back, because if she looks back, she will not be able to leave. When Roderick returns home, the children tell him what happened. He stands at the window for a long time, staring out at the sea. His face is sad, but not surprised, not angry. She was never truly mine, he says quietly. I knew that from the beginning. I only borrowed her for a time, and she gave me you. That is more than I deserved. The children grow and have children of their own, and they pass down the story, the true story of Roderick MacCodrum and the seal woman. They pass down the taboo, never harm a seal. To this day, descendants of the MacCodrum clan will not hunt seals, will not eat seal meat, will not use sealskin for any purpose. It is sacred to them. It is family. And in some of the descendants, even now, you can see the mark of their heritage. Webbed fingers and toes. Syndactyly, the doctors call it, a genetic condition. But the MacCodrums know better. It is not a defect. It is a blessing. Proof that the sea folk are their ancestors. Proof that they belong to both worlds. There is dignity in the story. The seal woman was taken, yes, but she was treated with respect. She was given truth, if not freedom, and she gave her captor children who would carry her legacy forward, children who would remember and honour their seal heritage. In the end, she returned to the sea, but she also left something of herself behind, a family, a clan, a memory that will not fade. The seal that did not forget. Our final tale is a shorter one, but no less powerful. It is a story not of capture or seduction, but of mercy and gratitude, of the bonds that can form between human and seal folk when kindness is shown instead of cruelty. In Orkney there lives a fisherman named Manzi. He is not wealthy, he is not particularly successful, but he is a good man, honest and hard-working, and he does his best to support his family. One spring afternoon, he is walking along the shore at low tide, checking his lobster creels, when he hears a sound that stops him in his tracks. Crying, high-pitched and plaintive, the sound of distress. He follows the sound to a rocky outcrop at the edge of the tidal zone, and there, on the flat stones, he finds 2 seal pups. They are tiny, probably only a few days old, their coats still white and fluffy, their eyes dark and huge with fear. They call and call, but their mother is nowhere to be seen. Mansi looks around. The tide is coming in. In another hour, the waves will reach this outcrop. The pups are too small to swim yet. They will drown. Or perhaps their mother has already been killed by a hunter, and they are truly orphaned. He looks at them for a long time. He thinks about his own children at home. He thinks about how much money 2 seal pelts would bring, even pups this young. His family could use that money. Times are hard. But he also thinks about the cries they are making, about their huge, helpless eyes, about the fact that they are babies, no matter what species they belong to. He turns away, leaves them there, and he does not tell anyone about them, does not mention them to any other fishermen, does not give anyone else the opportunity to take what he has refused. 2 days later, when he returns to check his creels, the pups are gone. The rock is empty. Their mother must have come back for them, must have found them safe. He is glad. The years pass. Mansi grows older. His children grow and leave home. He continues fishing, though his body aches more with each passing winter, and the work grows harder. One autumn day, he is out on the rocks at low tide, gathering bait for his lines. The weather has been good, but now clouds are rolling in from the west, dark and heavy. The wind is picking up. He needs to finish his work and get back to shore before the storm hits. He works quickly, moving from rock to rock, his creel filling with limpets and whelks. He is so focused on his task that he does not notice the tide, does not notice how quickly the water is rising, how the rocks behind him are already submerged. When he finally looks up, he realizes with a jolt of fear that he is cut off. The tide has come in faster than he expected, aided by the wind and the pressure of the approaching storm. The rocks between him and the shore are under water now. Deep water, cold water, with a current running strong. He is a good swimmer, but he is not young anymore, and the water is so cold. If he tries to swim, he might not make it. He stands on his rocky island, watching the grey water rise, feeling the first drops of rain, and he thinks, "This is how I die. This is how it ends." The water reaches his knees, his thighs. It is so cold it takes his breath away, and then he feels something grab his collar from behind. He startles, turns, expects to see a person, but there is no one there. Only a grey seal, large and sleek, swimming close, its dark eyes fixed on his face. It pulls at his coat again, tugging him toward the deeper water. He understands. It wants him to swim. It will help him. He slides into the water, gasping at the cold, and the seal swims beside him, its body pressed against his, supporting him, guiding him. When the current tries to pull him under, the seal pushes him up. When he begins to tire, the seal swims beneath him, letting him rest his hand on its back. Together they make their way through the rough water toward the shore. His feet touch sand. He staggers forward, coughing, shivering violently, but alive. He turns to look at the seal. It floats a few feet away, watching him, and he recognizes it, or thinks he does. The pattern of spots on his head, the particular shape of its eyes. "You were one of the pups," he says, his voice hoarse. "I left you on the rocks all those years ago." The seal tilts its head and he swears it nods, understands. "Thank you," Mancy whispers. "God bless the Selkie that does not forget." The seal dips its head beneath the water. When it surfaces again, it is further out, heading toward the open sea. It looks back once, just once, then it dives and is gone. Mancy tells the story to his children and his grandchildren, and they tell it to theirs. It becomes a Macpherson family legend, passed down through generations. A reminder that mercy is never wasted, that kindness has a way of coming back when you need it most, that the seal folk remember and they repay their debts. This story is different from the others. There is no capture here, no stolen skin, no tragic ending, just a simple act of compassion and a simple act of gratitude. Human and Selkie meeting as equals, helping one another, and then parting ways. Perhaps that is a lesson, that the best relationships between humans and seal folk are the ones built on respect rather than possession, on freedom rather than captivity, on the understanding that we are all just trying to survive in a world that is often cold and dangerous and unforgiving. The Selkie could have swum past Manzy, could have ignored his plight. Instead, it remembered a kindness shown many years before, and it paid that kindness back when it mattered most. The seal folk are not monsters. They are not demons. They are simply another people living their lives in the cold northern waters, occasionally crossing paths with humans in ways that can be beautiful or tragic or simply strange. And when we treat them with respect, when we acknowledge their right to exist, their right to freedom, they respond in kind. The seal that did not forget teaches us that the best gift we can give is mercy, and the best gift we can receive is the same. The fire has burned down to embers now, glowing soft and red in the hearth. Beyond the window, the moon is setting, and the first hint of dawn touches the eastern horizon. The tide has turned. The sea is quiet. The seals have stopped calling. We have travelled together tonight through 5 tales of the sea folk. We have seen captivity and escape, seduction and consequence, prophecy and tragedy, heritage and blessing, mercy and gratitude. Each story different, yet each carrying the same central truth. The Selkies belong to the sea. They will always return to it, and any attempt to hold them on land, no matter how much love is involved, no matter how comfortable the cage, is doomed to fail in the end. Perhaps that is why these stories have endured for so long, because they speak to something universal in the human heart, the longing for what we cannot have, the ache of loving something that cannot love us back in quite the way we need, the impossibility of holding on to anything forever, no matter how tightly we grip. The sealskin is a powerful symbol. It is the self, the true nature that cannot be denied or suppressed, no matter how many years pass, no matter how many children are born, no matter how much affection grows between captor and captive. When the Selkie finds her skin, she will leave, always, because to stay would be to deny what she truly is, and none of us can live that way forever. But the stories also teach us about respect, about the importance of letting go, about how mercy can come back to us when we need it most. The fisherman who spared the seal pups was saved by one of them years later. The clan that honoured their seal heritage, that refused to harm the seal folk, carried that blessing forward through generations. Perhaps the real question is not why the selkies leave. Perhaps the question is why we try so hard to hold them in the first place. What is it in human nature that sees something beautiful and wild and wants to possess it, to tame it, to make it ours? And what would happen if instead we simply admired it, respected it, and let it be free? The grey seals are still out there, in the cold waters around Orkney and Shetland and the Hebrides. They haul themselves onto the rocks to sun themselves in rare moments of warmth. They watch the shore with those dark, knowing eyes, and perhaps on certain nights, when the moon is full and the tide is right, they still shed their skins and dance on hidden beaches, laughing with joy at the feel of dry land beneath their feet. We do not see them as often as our ancestors did. The world has grown louder, brighter, more crowded. The liminal spaces where magic lives, where sea meets shore and human meets other, have grown smaller, but the stories remain, and as long as the stories remain, so do the selkies, swimming in the deeper places, calling to one another in voices that sound almost human, remembering the days when they walked among us, remembering the love and the sorrow and the longing that binds us together still. So when you see a seal watching you from the water, look closely, look into those dark eyes, and remember that once, in the old stories, they were people too. People who could walk on land, people who sang and danced and loved, people who longed for home just as desperately as any of us do. And maybe, just maybe, send a kind thought their way, a moment of respect, a silent acknowledgement that we share this world, this cold northern world of rock and sea and endless sky. And that kindness, wherever it is shown, is never wasted. Rest well tonight. Let the sound of distant waves carry you towards sleep, and may the seal folk watch over your dreams with their dark, knowing eyes, as they have watched over these islands for centuries beyond counting. If these stories brought you comfort tonight, if they helped you drift towards sleep, consider leaving a like and subscribing to Caledonia Sleeps. There are more tales waiting by the fire, more journeys into Scotland's folklore and history, more nights to spend together, exploring the old stories that shaped these islands. But for now, rest, sleep, and let the sea songs carry you gently into your dreams. Good night from the shore. Good night from the fireside. Good night.